got the podcast voice.
Oh, really? I find my voice terribly annoying, but
No. It's good. It's good.
You sound way better. How are things for you, man? How are things in France? I'm curious because like over here, the only updates we ever get like in America about the rest of the world are really like the UK, you know, and it's like
exactly. You never hear about France.
But what are things like for you there?
So currently, we have a curfew, which is 6 o'clock, which really sucks because Pete, Pete, he finishes work normally around this time, normally around like 5:36. He'll come to mine, but normally you have to be at home indoors. You can't go out after 6 o'clock, it sounds extreme, but it's the winter. Also, shops are open. Mm-hmm. You need a mask everywhere. Restaurants are open, but only for takeaway.
Okay.
Do you know what? If I had money flow coming in, I would be chilling. But
yeah,
you know what? I'm trying to change that at the moment just by like hustling on the side where I can. But it's not great, but it could be worse. We did like 2 months of like solid lockdown, like. Mm-hmm. It was like prison, man. You're allowed out for like an hour's exercise and to go to the shops. It was crazy. That was when I was, not that I'm not a believer of it. I just feel that there's a bit extreme at times with how they're coping with it. But
yeah. it's been such a weird thing, man. Because I mean, like here we're full on kind of like Wild West as you'd anticipate.
You're back into it, no? Like I saw restaurants in Florida like open, and my mates were there.
Florida's been like. They've been full throttle for like fucking months, man. Like you can't stop them. They're just going to go. But
they're like, what Corona?
Like they've been like open and restaurants have had limited stuff. And, you know, for a while we were like we were number one in the world for cases and shit. But I don't really know where we're at now. It's so hard because, you know, we've been pretty lax, it seems like here, and things have, you know, they got bad, but then you look at other places that have been really strict about it and they're getting bad too. So it's like, you just don't know, you know, where the lockdowns sort of start to hurt, you know, not just like the mental health aspect of it. And
it's massive, man. That is massive.
For me, like it's completely fucked creativity. Like even, you know, being like as open as we are, it still feels like things still kind of feel a little bit, sometimes I just get this nihilistic, like, oh, well, what's the point right now? You know?
Yeah.
And it's, that's actually kind of an interesting thing I wanted to talk to you about, of like, how's the creative process sort of changed for you in 2020? Like you released new music, under sort of a solo project, Rory J. Williams, right? On Spotify.
Yeah.
Go check it out. But,
thanks for the plug.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that.
So, okay, you know, we met really early on, like basically, with the band. I'll try to be quick. I also talk a lot, so you have to like shut me off.
No.
But when you met us, it was early days. We literally went from playing in pubs to being in the studio with you, Jacquire, and Lowell in Nashville, which was just the maddest thing. You go from like, playing to 100 people to then building a record that, you know, you hope hundreds of thousands of people are going to hear. Mm-hmm. And it was so fast tracked that like I had to learn to write and all these kind of things. And we were also with the major labels. So you cater to the charts and listening to like, oh, they did that. Okay, cool. Well, maybe I should write a song like that. Anyway, 2020 came around and due to like some personal things. So like, you know, like going through a breakup, we then got into lockdown and I've been working on this project, my own project, plus the band stuff and writing. And it was, I don't know, I just went into a different mindset. And I basically said to myself, first of all, life's too short. I had no money, like from the band. We had a bit of money in the band account. And I was like, man, I've been doing this for 5.5 years, like professionally, like fingers in the air and stuff. And because I forgot. So this is a podcast. It's not a video.
It's video too. Yeah, it'll be both audio. Yeah, it'll be both
cool.
audio and video.
People see me do that. Cool.
Yeah.
And I literally just got dumped. I had no money in any account apart from a bit of savings.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is rubbish. And I feel like I've been catering to other people when I've been songwriting and stuff. And kind of teaching myself production, in the last sort of few years. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to try something different. Like for example, I love my hip hop. Like right now, like St. John, I love what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that track, and I just started playing around with like, whether it be auto tune or vocoders, and doing all the stuff that I wouldn't normally do in the band.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny, actually, that started to transition into the songs we're writing for the band record, the new one.
Yeah.
And even though like these things take a long time, I mean, you know that when you're creating.
Yeah.
And also that, what am I trying to say? That it didn't feel like they were like shutting down venues, like people are saying there's no gigs for so long.
Right.
Creatively, I've been allowed to kind of just do stuff because everyone's a little bit like, it's not the end of the world, but that whole, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
You know why am I doing that? Or why am I doing that? And I'm like, there's been so many aspects to being a musician and being live, playing live, and so many things that I haven't liked.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it be, that did come down to confidence and stuff. But as soon as I just started kind of pushing that all aside, and when you're working with the boys, I want them to like what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I love the boys and I appreciate their opinion, but I'm also kind of done with maybe catering to it.
Yeah. You want to have,
it's changed
like,
my,
100% control over something for a minute, and like realize your own vision.
But
something.
It's a democracy.
Yeah,
it is a democracy, so you have to play ball with each other. But I instead of doing something like, oh yeah, okay, that vocal or that melody or that way I play piano, I don't want to do that. That's what I've always done. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pick up a guitar as rubbish. I mean, dude, you shred. So don't shake your head. And but I'm learning my way of playing it and stuff. And when you're doing like, but I'd never do that normally. So I think my point being for 2020 is that all the rules that I would normally let kind of stop me from doing things, I've just put aside. That's being a bit more creative.
That's really like a refreshing and positive way to go about it. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, and like I sort of mentioned, like for me, it was really tough to like creatively just get up for anything like at first, where it just kind of felt like everything was on pause and like you couldn't go, couldn't get into the studio to make a record. And then,
yeah, man, like,
trying to like, even if I was just trying to like dick around and write my own shit here or whatever, it was like, I'm pushing rope. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's not working.
I've never heard that expression. Pushing rope.
It's usually used in a different context, but that's a refreshing and a really positive way to look at it. Is like, oh well, now there are no rules, so I can creatively explore things a bit more. And that's an interesting thing.
I think we care too much. Me especially, man. I mean, I could sit here for hours telling you like, oh, how hard school was, or da da da. But I definitely cared too much what people have thought in the past, and that's kind of definitely stopped me. Like, oh, if I sing like that, people might laugh. Silly. I know it's silly. But
no. We all. I mean, we all go through that. That's shit. I have that with doing this. Like every night, I'm going to bed going like, why am I like who's gonna care? Like, what are we doing? But
this is sick.
It's been fun, so I'm just gonna keep doing it.
You should definitely do it, man. And the thing is, like, you're connecting with, like, whether it be other producers, engineers, musicians. Like they all have a fan base. They all want to hear what they're talking about. Yeah, and it will grow organically, and the way it
that was sort of like the genesis for doing this was like, I have all these cool friends that are really talented and their fans know a version of them, but they don't know the version of them that I do.
You should get those guys or girls on, whoever they are. You should get them on.
You're on right now.
I'm fishing for a compliment.
But Yeah, no, and I wanted to like get the people that I know and love and like kind of show their fans and the world the version of them that I love and why I love them and why I feel like they're so talented. So I think this has been a really fun thing to do, and that leads me into my next sort of question for you is where did music start for you? Is there a moment you can think back to where you sort of made this decision, or there was a moment where you went, oh, this is my path, this is where I'm going to go?
Yeah, it was super early on for me. Like I remember I basically said to my mum, I want a drum kit. Oh no, wait a minute. What did I say? I said to my mum, I want an electric guitar.
Yeah.
All I want to do is shred. Because I grew up listening to in the house on vinyl. Like we had Queen, which is my mum's favorite group. We had Queen, we had Hendrix, we had Pet Shop Boys. We had, but it was all like, all like in their own genre, just massive music. And there's a lot of guitar music I used to listen to. So I asked for electric guitar. I got an acoustic guitar, and then I would just turn it upside down and strum away on the shiny bit because it didn't hurt my fingers. And then I said to my mum, I was like, "All right, cool. I want electric guitar though because I need to make the noise." Mm-hmm. She went, "Yeah, sure, yeah." And she got me piano lessons, and I think I was 6 or 7.
Oh,
which
wow.
Now I think it's super young, and did lessons for a year. And then I started like learning kind of like, I was supposed to be doing scales, and I started realizing I could play by ear and learning songs from the advert. I don't know if you know the bread Hovis.
I don't.
I think it might be a really British bread, but they had this advert, and I learned the song and I played it. Went back to my lesson, and she was like, but you didn't do your scales. And I remember, I obviously didn't say these words, but I remember in my head just going, fuck this, I'm done. I'll go to school all day, and then I come to a fucking lesson and she gives me this shit. Yeah. Anyway, so
more fucking homework.
So I quit. I think I was age 7, and I decided I was going to quit what I was doing musically. And I was like, I'll just teach myself. And I would get, for the good 2 or 3 years, I would get a lot of music books like Oasis, the Beatles. Yeah. I couldn't read music. And so there was a struggle. But I realized that I actually started writing really early. And there's a cassette somewhere at my mum's house, if we ever find it, hopefully never. And it's got all of these first like ideas of songs or covers I did.
Yeah.
And that was me. I was like, I'm in. I think 7, 8, I was like, I could listen to a song, play it straight away, or learn it pretty fast. And I was like, yeah, this is me. I'm done. And I used to get annoyed at my brother because he never knew what he wanted to do in life. I was like, but I know. And then I'd be an asshole and beat him up. And then we got past it. We got past it.
As you do. Yeah.
But yeah. And then I didn't have any mates that played music. My cousin's massive, like my cousin Michael, big inspiration. Mm-hmm. He basically taught me how to play piano his way. And we'd see him about 2 or 3 times a year. He'd rock up. I'd watch what he did, and I was like, whoa, he's using like, I don't know, like silly, like 2 bass notes on the left hand. Yeah. I'm going to do it. And I play like he's like phenomenal when he plays. I can't play like he does, but he was learning songs, just teaching himself. So yeah, young age, man. But I didn't start the band until I met the boys when I came out to France. Really? Which was about 10 years ago, if not more. Oh, about 10 years ago. Wow. And we were just jamming. Yeah. So I was already like 24.
Wow. So your first band.
First band is
your
my
first band. You got signed and came to Nashville and made a fucking record. How fucking cool is that?
Yeah, boy. Now you say it like that, it sounds pretty legendary. But
yeah, I mean,
we played covers. We played covers for a long. We played covers for a long time. We were playing really good things as well. So like, you learn. Jed always says actually, like when you're playing 8 times a week, you're playing the Beatles, you're playing Led Zeppelin, you're playing like so many, Kings of Leon, which is funny to be in the same studio as them. Yeah. yeah, you learn what a good song is. I mean, we've never made a good song, or it's never been as successful, but those first songs, like the first song we did was She Wants, and it got us, a record deal and put us on like big time radio. So we were like, well, this is easy, but I wish someone had told us like, oh yeah, this is the easy bit. Now you really have to work hard.
Right.
Because I started that a bit too late and then ruined opportunities. But hey, we live and learn, no?
Well, I mean, I still think that's pretty fucking amazing that you went from, playing pubs in your first band to, making a record in Nashville with Jacquire King, who we all know how amazing he is. So what was that transition like? You go from playing pubs, you release She Wants, you get this record deal, and then you go, oh, now we're in the South in Nashville, in what is arguably one of the most famous recording studios in the world, with one of the most famous record producers in the world. Like, what is that like?
Fucked up. One word.
Yeah.
2 words.
Fucked
up. Yeah, man. Thing is, right, and I'll always remember that whole, dude, this is why, I mean, I haven't seen you in what, 3 years? Maybe
in
more.
person, longer than that. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
At least 4 or 5.
Kind of proves that how special that session was for me, especially. I know the boys as well.
Oh man,
like I was definitely like on edge, especially when you see that guitar that's in there with all the signatures.
Mm-hmm.
Like from everyone from Tom Petty to T-Pain.
Yeah,
how good is that? So I was like, whoa! And I've seen the Kings of Leon documentary, so I was definitely intimidated. And there's loads of things I would have changed, but it was a massive learning experience for me. It was, we had the opportunity to like write and play and record music with, you boys, that was mad. It's weird. I'm just reminiscing right now, but the feeling was bizarre, but it was also, again, like this whole confidence thing that I was struggling with, feeling like I know I should be a frontman and this is going epic, but I had so many like stresses, and you spend so many time like with the boys, me and you start buying heads here and there. But the experience is that wall ball.
Yeah.
Come on, how good was that?
It's the best. Yeah, I mean,
like
still one of the.
I don't know what's better actually.
What's that?
I don't know what was better. I don't know if making the record with Jacquire King and yourself and Lowell, or the wall ball where the competition was fierce, man.
Yeah, and fucking Pete out playing with no shoes on. Nutball. Nut.
We haven't played since.
Good. We should only play at Blackbird on the sanctioned wall ball court.
Yeah.
Oh man. That was, I mean, I think that's a really common thing that a lot of people don't talk about is the feeling of it's sort of the imposter syndrome of like, man, what, like the pressures you put on yourself, which, I was feeling it in my own way, like that was really one of my first like projects with Jacquire in that role and something of that like magnitude. And I think, that we're all subject to that of like, oh man, I'm going to get found out any moment. Like they're going to realize that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, or, like you just have this fear, and it's really it took me a long time to realize it comes from a good place. It comes from, you want to do a good job and you're worried because you want to do a good job. And if you sort of I had to like take a step back and say like, well, why am I fucking freaking out right now? Well, I'm freaking out because I want to do a good job. Okay. Why do you want to do a good job? Because I care about my job, and I care about the process, and I care about getting this record as best we can for these people. And when you sort of break it down and take a step back, you have to take yourself out of the way. And like all this anxiety and all this worry is going to make it worse and make it harder for me to do my job well. So I just have to sort of surrender to it and get into it and just let it happen. You know what I mean?
Totally. But the thing is, man, like you and me in our careers, it was super early for both of us. And I think you have to, like, it's pointless going like, oh, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done that, because I probably wouldn't have the same drive I'm doing now.
Oh, right.
With what I'm doing, if like, okay, the record did amazing for what we put out, and what we managed to succeed. But it's kind of, the other thing was, we never knew, like we were out there, and I remember we got put on the London radio station, Radio 1, and we put in the C list. And then we were like, well, what's next? The B list, like, and because it was all happening so quick, and there was so much, like, rubbing shoulders with like big time producers and stuff, and I just thought it was going to keep going up and up and up. And I didn't know which way, and I just don't know. It's so weird. That whole moment was so weird. And I don't regret any of it, because you learn from whether it be mistakes or missed opportunities or all these things,
Yeah.
Maybe should have been writing more when I was on the road and stuff like this. But we're currently now doing a third record.
Yeah.
Somehow during this pandemic, we got offered a record deal again.
Hey.
We're like, how is this happening? And we're in confinement, so we have to make this ourselves. And like, it's super exciting, man.
Yeah.
And I don't think if I changed my ways, I'd have the same mindset now, like.
No, I that's a good point. And there's no better way to learn than just from screwing stuff up. I mean, or just getting in and doing it, and then thinking back and being like, why was I such a bonehead about this? Or I've done that so many times. And
oh, mate,
you guys, after the record with Jacquire, you went and you made another record. Blood Rush Deja Vu, which you did with Catherine Marks, right?
Yeah. Somehow
amazing.
We managed to get her.
So,
we were like,
my question with that is, going into the record with Catherine, like, what did you take from your experience with Nashville and Jacquire and that whole first record, and some of those things that you're sort of thinking back on? Like, what did you take into making that record?
Well, we definitely, because with any project you do, this, and this is no disrespect to any of the boys, anyone that worked on that record, basically.
Oh, no. Yeah.
But you come away and you go, I wish I'd done that better. I wish we'd done that. You know what? If we hadn't maybe been so safe here and all these kind of things. So we just had a little bit more knowledge on going into the second record with, we know what we want. And you also let, Jacquire King and CJ Marks, like, you let them do their thing, because that's what they do. With any producer, like, you have to, we've also had some other great people we've worked with, and you let them do what they do. Because I remember the first time our mate James, became a mate, James Lewis, he's like, we should put bongos on this. And that was like the furthest thing I ever wanted to do. And then I realized I know nothing about music, because he put the bongos on and I was like, that's so amazing. I was like, I don't know what you've done there. And we had a bit more knowledge going into the CJ track. And then again, now we're doing, it was so hot, man. Oh my God. I think it was the hottest recorded day then in London. And we were in this hot box of a studio. But it was super exciting. I really enjoyed it, actually. We did half of it in France and half of it in London.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I look forward to going into a studio again where, like, we've got all the toys.
Yeah.
You have an engineer to show you how to use the toys. But with CJ, like, she's been a good mate for years since we first worked with her. And we see her in London, and, like, you have nights out and stuff, and she comes to gigs. And I remember saying to her, because she blew up, and Steve was like, our manager, she won't do the record. And I was like, well, she's coming to the London show. I just talked to her when we've been drinking. And I was like, would you want to do a record? She was like, yeah, definitely. I can't believe you guys asked me. And we were like, well, I don't know about that. I mean, and then we were like, we don't really have any money. She was like, we'll work it out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but and just straight off the bat, you already know that she's passionate, because she's hooking us up.
Yeah.
And she
she's
found
invested.
ways. So we obviously paid her, but we were like finding ways, and she found us a studio that basically I think we pretty much got for free and things like this. And yeah, it was, I've gone off on a tangent now, but
No.
we had a bit more experience, I think, songwriting wise and
Confidence
recording
wise, I'm sure it was a big difference too. I mean, having
sonically,
been through the ringer.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I always feel those situations are a massive blur, and afterwards you go, oh yeah, shit, I wish I'd done that now. But you got to enjoy the process. Definitely enjoy it. That would be a regret I have, where times I haven't enjoyed the process, whether it be writing with someone. I've been a proper little shit sometimes. There was a set of shit in London. And even if the boys bring it up, I go, nah. I'm just like, I was right. But I didn't want to. This guy had made like platinum records with like Paolo Nutini and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, the idea's all right, but let's do this. But I was like, nah. I was like, if you like my idea and you like the direction, we'll just stick with this.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't throw my toys out the pram. I didn't think, but apparently I did. And I was like, nah. We'll do it my way. It's better. And he was like, all right, well, but we're not going to do it your way. And the session's over. And I was like, okay, that was interesting. And we never saw that guy again.
Oh man, that's funny. That's it.
I think I tried to put my foot down and it didn't work.
It didn't work. I mean, that's a
lesson learned, kids.
That is a good lesson, and that's not something that's just unique to you either. I've heard that many times with bands, and especially younger bands that have early success and get signed and have a deal, and then the label might be like, you don't have all the songs yet, so we're gonna put you with some writers, and then all of a sudden you're on the back foot, like, oh, what the fuck does that mean? Like my songs aren't good enough. And it's like, and then they'll get into a writing session and kind of purposely torpedo it, or just phone it in and not really take the experience for what it is. And I've tried to have those conversations with bands before when it's like, look, I get this is a really personal thing. This is art is it's a piece of you and it's a representation of you. But at the same time, for a lot of these bands, this might be your first shot as a young band to like really make this a career, or maybe make it a way that you can continue to make records and do this fucking cool job that we get to do. So sometimes you just have to like, okay, I'm going to just surrender to this process, even though it's uncomfortable and weird, and we don't necessarily have to use it after the fact, but let's just get through it and see what happens, Yeah. And I think that's a good thing to talk about. I'm glad you mentioned it, that sometimes you got to just sometimes you got to go with it, but sometimes you got to put your foot down too. So
I recommend anyone try it, as in put your foot down, just because like that idea, I still think my idea, actually, now I think about it, I remember the idea. I loved it. But yeah, like collaboration, which I'm still learning, but I definitely have learned, is a massive winner. Because, okay, so for example, the moment right now with the work I'm doing on the record for the band, me and Pete, we sit here. He's like literally just sat behind me normally. And I go over ideas, he goes over ideas, and there's so many ideas that if he hadn't been sat in the room, we'd have just gone over. Me mumbling something, doing like and he's like, whoa, that's amazing. Well, maybe not amazing, but
yeah, that's something.
And also, like, so on my solo project, I've been working with two mates, Alex and Flo, and phenomenal what they do. And what the cool thing is, Flo, we met him, he was in a band called the Consolers. We met him in Germany.
Yeah.
And we became really good mates. I just liked kind of how he's not rude, but he comes across very rude. He basically kicked our green door open. So we had our backstage room.
Yeah.
It wasn't his room. He came in, like, it felt like he kicked it open, grabbed a beer, straight away opened it, started eating some chips, and was like, "Sup guys, how you doing?" And I remember the boys being like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And I was like, "I love him." So we butt heads when we're writing together because he's got an ego and I've got an ego.
Yeah.
But he's phenomenal. I've learned a lot from those two boys, and collaboration and songwriting, you know, it's hard, man. Dude, I have an ego, and it's really hard to like let it go sometimes because I go, "No, my idea is amazing," and I can't let go of it, and I'm gonna say it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Some of my ideas are rubbish, and the other one was better, but you know,
No, that's
sometimes
ego's important, man. That's a thing that, you know, ego kind of gets this negative connotation, and rightfully so in most aspects.
It's definitely not negative. It's definitely not just negative anyway. Yeah.
But ego is essential in creating art, and that's what drives people to want to be better and drive them to want to like make something that's excellent and really strive for greatness. So
definitely,
like, you have to have that as sort of the engine, but you also need to be self-aware enough to like put the governor on every once in a while and sort of like, wait, am I doing this because I feel it's right actually, or am I doing this because I like my ego got checked for a second and I'm feeling defensive? Yeah. I've had that so many times, especially with like a mix. You know, you work on a mix for 2 days and you send it out and you get a couple notes and you're like, fuck you, like, what? This is great. Mate, but then you're like, hold on, they're right.
I hands down know I barely do the same hours that, like, you know, you producers do when I'm kind of putting a track together, because I'm like, okay, cool, well, this could be a demo or whatever it be. And I have massive respect for someone that can work on something for 2 days and then just be like, if they don't like it, they just go, okay, what would you like me to do? Because I know I can't do that.
It takes a lot of practice. I'll tell you that.
God, it takes, yeah. And I suppose, you know what, when there's money, you know, I mean, I know that you work hard, man, and you've done hours where you're not getting a cent. But I suppose when there's money on the table, it kind of takes that. Maybe you're like, oh, you know what, I'm getting paid. And yeah, they are paying me, and you know, like if I'm doing songwriting and I've got to do a vocal or stuff and it comes back, it's different. I think when you're doing, I don't know, if you can get caught into a project and you have that passion, I mean, I'm always ready to chuck a chair around the room if someone doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Where are the chairs? Why there's no chairs in this room? What the fuck?
You walk in and all the chairs are gone. Wait, what are you guys about to tell me? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So we have a problem. No, I mean, it happens, and it's something I definitely struggle with a lot. Of like, okay, I need to take a step back for a second, and I generally have like a 2-hour window to like reply to an email. You know, like I got to give myself like 2 hours, because if I reply right now, I'm gonna be a dick, and I shouldn't be. But you know what? Like, I got to give myself a second, absorb it. You know, go for a walk, and then I'll come back and I'll write. You know, I might still have the same sentiment of like, you know, I think I might be right or whatever it is, but I'm not gonna respond emotionally, at least. You know what I mean?
But this, what is interesting when you said that, because if I think like with, you know, producers I know, we've got to talk about Jacquire. Like, we both love him, and I know he's a really good mate of yours, and I still always class him as a good mate, like just because that time was so special. And we've sent texts, you know, once a year or something.
Yeah,
like I'm like, hey, we still mates, and he'll be like, sup? But well, I mean, I always remember when our manager made a comment about a song.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, timing was bad. They hadn't even met each other, and it was like a comment made. I know that our manager was like stood by what he probably still stands by what he said.
Yeah.
And Jacquire didn't hide any emotion. He just blew up. He went, the fuck is that? And then walked out and I was like, I was a scary man. I was like, this guy's gonna hit someone. And I was like, he's scared me many a times.
Yeah.
And I have respect for people that don't say anything, but I have respect for people that just like, you know, I mean, he's he's made his mark in the music world. That you know, he's justified.
Yeah, no, and in that context, sometimes a blow up is necessary, especially when making a record. Like making a record is it's a pressure cooker of a fucking process, and everybody's walking naked through the middle of town square, including the producer. You know, like everybody's nuts are on the bandsaw, so it's a pressure cooker, and sometimes you gotta blow up, especially when you know Steve-O walks in and sits on the back couch and doesn't say hey or anything. And then makes a comment on a song we've been working on for fucking weeks, and then you know,
man.
Sometimes,
but do you know what? It's one of the moments that I love. I'll always remember when Rob came in. There were certain moments where there was like, you know, the pressure was up.
Yeah,
like Jacquire went, "You boys are gonna have to fucking amp it up." Like, didn't say it was shit, but he was just like, and I remember Rob came in and he was saying like on the mic, and he had all day, and he was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I just not very warmed up." And Jacquire was just like, "You've had 5 hours today, man. What the fuck have you been doing?" And I was like, told.
Yeah, you got to be called on your bullshit.
I did my warm ups. Like, I didn't miss a day after that.
Yeah. No, he's not gonna let you slide, man. That's
no way.
That's what makes him great. Is, you know, he's not gonna let anybody slide, and he's passionate, like we said. That's his.
Man, that boy is passionate.
Love of music is deep, and his love for doing his job and doing it excellent is just as deep. So, you know, he doesn't give anybody breaks, you know. Interns, assistants, engineers, like we're all held to the same standards, and that's a really, I mean, that's a great way to run a ship, because everybody knows their expectations. And like you said, like after that moment, you're like, I'm not missing a day of warm up, right? It made you better. It made us all better.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I remember doing a take, and I was like, I'm gonna have to take some of the pressure off Rob here and try really push myself. But I know it's the aircon, man, because there's aircon in all those rooms, and I didn't realize how much it affects me until you start. You know, I do vocals in this room on this mic, and there's no aircon, and I'm all good. And I do vocals. I'm like, whoa, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
But in Nashville, we were in there we did 7 weeks, no?
Yeah.
My vocal cords were dry. They were done.
Oh yeah. That was one thing I always think about, especially for bands coming from the UK, because I mean that year that we did your record, we did like a string of bands from like the UK and
Louis.
Yeah, we did Louis, we did You Me at 6. I think we did Eliza and the Bear like just before you guys, or was it after?
Possibly after. Yeah, I remember getting a message from them at a festival.
Yeah, and we did a lot, and I always just remember being really sympathetic for the singers, because not only are you coming here to a different climate, but Nashville is notorious for terrible allergies. So
really?
You're going to get there, and like the allergies are going to fuck with you. And then, like you said, the air conditioning, it's just like you're getting sort of taken out of your comfort zone and then thrown into this thing when it's like, okay, cool, let's do this thing that everyone's going to hear forever, and it's going to be, on the internet.
Yeah, but mate, I mean, if we're gonna complain in a job that is not a job,
right?
I mean, there might be stressful times because you're like, is he going to be angry with me when I come out of this session? But I mean, apart from I'm a princess, and a princess has to say, my throat's a little dry. Where the fuck is my water?
Yeah. Where's my lemon ginger tea with honey? I remember that.
Yeah,
I still drink that shit.
Those donuts, literally hands down, donuts, banana pudding, Lowell's Mrs. Banana Pudding.
Oh yeah.
The Treehouse in 5 Points, is it?
Yeah, East Nash.
Fucking hell, man. That food.
I
need to go back there, and I'm gonna destroy Kicking Mules at that bar. I mean, dude, I'm not gonna bore the people listening to this with all my reminiscence of restaurants, but I actually did a flying kick to my manager after having a Kicking Mule. I had 2. It's frozen moonshine. If anyone knows it, I don't know if it's famous, but frozen moonshine.
Oh.
And I was so excited. I mean, we're like, I'm in Nashville, and I came flying off this little stage area in this bar, and my manager put me straight into a taxi and sent me home.
That's enough from you. You're going home. That's
yeah,
amazing.
that was me done. But yeah, oh man, I missed the food. That was. I don't miss you guys. I miss the food.
Well, the food is good in Nashville. So what's next for you guys? I know you said you just got signed. You're working on a record. Is there a timetable?
Yes and no. I think we're supposed to have pretty much the songs all done by the end of January. And then there's like the grace period of like working out, me doing vocals, me working out the lyrics with the boys, going back and forth on ideas, just to like tweak stuff. The chances, I'd be very surprised if all those stuff, because life, man, like I'm trying to stay in France right now. So I got a bunch of bullshit I'm trying to deal with. So yeah, but I think by the end of Feb, we will have the record done, delivered. And then, yeah, because you got to think about it, like, as you know, you do a new campaign, new photos, you normally go to London, you like wherever you go as a like the center of the kind of music industry for you. And you go do your photo stuff, and we always go to London for that. And we can't do that because Jed's stuck in America.
Yeah.
So I think we have an idea at hand that I think should be good. And I mean, whatever, like, it's quite fun. Like, this is actually so I'm producing it with Steve, who's in Newcastle. I don't know if he's able to go back and forth anymore because of COVID at the moment. Pete's here, Jed's in America, so it is actually like a COVID record.
Yeah,
which is interesting. Yeah, and who knows, man? I mean, like we signed for the first time with an American label, and I don't know how much I'm supposed to say, but who cares? And we're buzzing, we're excited.
Yeah. I mean, who's listening anyways, right?
Yeah, us. Exactly. But yeah, no, it's gonna be the first time that our music's properly been put out with in America. So that
killer.
That for us is, there's been a few people have heard us, but it's never had the push that we feel like it deserves. So
that's
exciting.
Guess,
yeah, man. Which means when all this shit stops, we can come over and hopefully come to Arizona, man.
Fuck yeah. Or
Arizona.
I'll drive to wherever you're closest.
Well, that'd be epic. Arizona, in the film Speed, it's the Arizona Cats hoodie she's wearing, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah. Wildcat. That's why he calls her Wildcat.
Wildcats. That's not. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So it's the Arizona Wildcats.
I think they're the Bearcats. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't know. But yeah, you're right.
Just suddenly remembered. I think I meant to say that to you, but I couldn't figure out.
That is actually the perfect segue. You're a pro. You're a pro at this. I want to do 5 rapid fire questions. And that is the perfect segue into this. What's your favorite bad 80s or 90s action movie?
Shit. 80s movie is easy, but actually, Point Break.
Point Break. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's Keanu, right? Wait. Am I? Which one's Point Break? Why am I blanking?
Point Break's the surfers that Rob Banks.
Yes.
Keanu Reeves and
Swayze?
Yeah, Patrick Swayze, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see the remake?
I won't. They were in it. I mean, look, the movie has its own take on it. It's amazing, and it's not. I don't even think it's rubbish, man. I love it. I love it so much.
Yes.
And me and my mates quote it all the time. Just so many Point Break.
Is that where Johnny Utah?
Johnny Utah,
right?
99.
Oh, that's fucking great. I love it. What was the last record you listened to front to back?
Let me have a look at my phone because it'll be on there. These are supposed to be quick fire, right?
Yeah.
Meh.
I say rapid fire, but we end up just tangenting anyways. That's not even the real word.
It is on this podcast.
Yeah, anything goes here.
The last record. Oh, do you know what it was actually? And it was during. I always find I always skip through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say I listened to, and if not, I did listen to all of St. John's record, which I loved, and then also, oh man, I was gone. Oh, Anderson? No. Oh, I can't remember now. That's really annoying.
Anderson .Paak?
No, not Anderson .Paak. Epic. But I've listened to like songs that he's like not whole records. No. What's it called? Doesn't matter. Oh, Sefjon Stevens.
I don't know that one.
Dude, Sefjon Stevens, American guy. He's been around for years, and he does. It's not country music, but it's beautiful. Okay. I listened to that. That was my first lockdown record, just over and over again. Going through a breakup, just like feeling like this is sad but beautiful.
Yeah, that's it's perfect for the pandemic.
Yeah.
Favorite meal?
Pizza,
my man.
But it can. I mean, dude, I could be here all day and tell you why and what days I like certain foods and times, and we haven't got time, man.
Okay.
So pizza is hands down.
Yeah, that's the
my
good
thing. Actually, my WhatsApp is pizza slut. You might have seen it when I WhatsApped you.
Yeah, I did. Dream car.
It's American car. I've been working on one. I haven't been working on one, but my mate's working on one. And actually, I drove a Mustang, a 1967 Mustang fastback.
Yeah.
And at the moment, if I can, when I've got some money, if I could find one and do one up, that would be my dream car.
Hell yeah,
man. There's some amazing American cars, but yeah, let's just say Mustang. Is it the fastback? It's called a fastback, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the style. Yeah, that's a good one. That's
a beautiful car. I know it's pretty standard when people say like favorite car, classic, but
actually, most people have been like new Porsche or whatever, but that's the first like OG muscle car that we've had answered.
I'm not gonna say no if Mercedes want to give me the new fucking whatever they have, but
yeah,
I don't want any of that new shit.
Nah.
It's to drive a Lambo, right?
Yeah.
Kanye West looks good in one, and ASAP Rocky looks good in one, and maybe Travis Scott. So rappers I think they're less rocking it because it just fits the scene.
Yeah.
But anyone that's an accountant or a banker just looks like a bellend, man.
Yeah.
In my book, I just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if Justin Bieber should be driving one either. I think he looks. It's like you should. It just doesn't suit it, And I like Justin, but like no, yeah. I just. But yeah, I'm all the classics. All about the classics.
Yeah, I love it.
What'd you drive?
I drive a 2008 Dodge Ram. It's a truck. Oh, yeah,
that's
very
epic.
American. That's
so American.
Yeah, I had that Jeep when y'all were in Nashville, and it was the biggest piece of shit I've ever driven.
Did you just say y'all? I haven't heard y'all since we used to go to what's the supermarket called in Nashville? Is it Kroger? Yeah, they're like, welcome to Kroger, y'all.
Yeah, y'all is one of those things that just like it gets in you, like whether or not you want it to or not. You just eventually you catch yourself like, "What's up, y'all?" And you're like, "Whoa, what just happened?"
I love it.
I just embrace it at this point. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I was there for 7 years. It's stuck. So
I love it. Anything like that is, it's cool.
All right. Last, well, I guess we started out rapid fire. We got sidetracked. All good. Advice for young bands going into the studio for the first time, which I think we kind of touched on a little bit, but if you had to boil it down to something succinct.
All right. Go out your comfort zone, experiment, and don't look Jacquire directly in the eyes. And don't beat him at Warble. But I think I don't know anyone in bands wouldn't disrespect the producer, but yeah, let the producer do what they do, and they're going to bring weird ideas sometimes, and that's normally the best thing. The bongo, basically the bongo thing, basically, went on a song that we ended up signing our first deal to.
There you go.
And I remember like, I remember Jed looking at me going, "The fuck," and then, but he also said to me, "I guess we'll just see." And then I mean, it's just bongos nowadays. Like, I love bongos when I'm playing stuff, but my point being is let people take you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Good.
But also you got to make mistakes. Fuck, they got.
Yeah.
You know, if I was to not that anyone's going to listen to my advice, but my point being is that if you were like, oh, do this, you know, you're going to get a perfect record. There needs to be fuck ups.
Yeah. No, the studio is a place to fuck up. Like, that's the freest place to have as many fuck ups as you want, right? I mean, we kind of think of it as the opposite of like, I need to go in and I need to crush this fucking take, but that's the time where you have as much. I mean, nowadays it's like we're not recording to tape, so we have as much tape as we need. It's not like, you know, we have as many undos and saves as you want. So like, feel free. You got to explore and fuck up. Otherwise you're not going to find what's right. And like, you know, if you want to be perfect, try to be perfect live, but that never happens. So, but since I'm calling this podcast One More for Safety, which I'm sure you remember hearing a million times making a record.
Nice.
This is sort of like the final One More for Safety question. And I've been doing sort of a time machine question, but I'm kind of compelled to switch it up here. Because
this time machine's a good question. Yeah, but go.
Maybe we'll circle back to it. Nah, this is.
All right.
I want to go with this one, I think.
Yeah, go with this one.
This is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I'm curious what an artist has to say about it. But does good art have to suffer?
You've just confused me with that question. Okay, so do you mean as in for someone who's been through some heartache, some trauma?
Yeah. Do you have to suffer to get good art?
I mean, I'm not going to bore you with my story, but I personally
that's
feel
why I have you here.
True. Okay, but I'm not going to go down the family story of what. I'm happy talking about it, but I went through a lot of. It's hard to tell because some of my favorite artists. I just watched the Elton John documentary.
Yeah.
Now, if that motherfucker had an easy upbringing, journey, you know, like to go from. Have you seen it?
I have not. No, is it good?
Mate, it blew my mind. Like if he'd like, you know, it's a little bit of the classic, you know, his dad walked out on him.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, really tore him to pieces. That did. But he had this amazing skill, talent. He went through a time where, like, you know, being gay was like super difficult. If he hadn't had all those struggles,
mm-hmm.
and I mean, I'm sure there's way more that they have in the story, you wouldn't have those songs. Like, I'm not one for those kind of movies sometimes where it's like a bit of a musical and all this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in love with that film, and I've loved Elton John for years. But I think it definitely helps. But it depends, you know. Like, everyone says everything I ever sing sounds sad, even if I'm trying to be cool. It's like, yeah, it sounds really sad, man. Like, not in a bad way, but like, why are you being so emotional? You know?
Yeah.
And you know, like, you know, I have my childhood story of, you know, mum and dad and stuff, and it definitely, I've always felt like, yes, instead of a curse, it's more of a blessing because I'm able to put emotion, you know, like,
yeah,
I'm not always singing about my childhood and stuff, but it makes me appreciate the things that I have. And, you know, even though maybe that was bad, but it could have been a shit lot worse. You know, there's all these things.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say yes. The one word answer you wanted was yes.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't have to be one word.
But I'm sure there's some people. I'm now trying to think of an artist that has had an easy life and upbringing that makes great music because they have a story to tell, really, and they put it out there. You know, like the greats. I don't know. Jed would know more about this. I wonder what Bruce Springsteen's upbringing was like.
Mm.
But the emotion that comes out of that man's face
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, no? Like
Yeah.
he's, I mean, he could sing about a chicken dinner and it would be like, super emotional
Yeah.
and have, yeah. I mean, artist I love. I mean, I think in the new age, look at Adele. Like she talks about how she has to go through a breakup every time she makes a record,
Mm-hmm.
and she's happy at the moment. So who knows if she'll ever release music again.
That'll be our barometer for the real answer to this question. If Adele's next record sucks, then yes, you have to suffer for good art.
For me, that suffering, how big or small it is, it definitely adds a flavor to what you're doing. And I mean, I said to my girlfriend, I was just like, we actually broke up like on New Year's Day for a week because I don't know how to deal with my emotions. And I wrote a song, and I was just lyrics, but I wrote a bunch of lyrics, and then I said, oh look, I wrote this, and she was like, she really liked it, and I was like, yeah, I have to suffer to actually, and it came so easy. Because I was in a sad place, and I was like, and I wrote 2 pages like that, and then when I'm happy, man, I can't write shit.
Yeah, well,
I had to be pissed off, sad, pissed off again, and sad, angry,
and then pissed off again.
Emotion.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's a good. I mean, that's an interesting answer because I think that's something I think about a lot. Of like, I've had my own personal whatever bullshit too, and I think back on all the best, most compelling pieces of music or compelling artists, and there's usually some sort of a story there. So it's
totally.
It's just it's interesting to hear it from somebody. So that's why I wanted to.
Well, I've got a question for you then. Like, I mean, you're a musician as well as a producer, even if you maybe choose to shadow it. But production wise, does the trauma affect how you produce?
Ooh.
No, okay, let's just say on a daily, you're having a bad day. Do you go in and I'm gonna fucking kill this session, or are you like, oh man, I'm feeling so good, I'm gonna kill this session? And then maybe when you feel a track, whether because you do write.
Very sporadically, like I'm kind of, I'm an old metalhead, so I'll
yeah, you love your metal.
I do. So I'll just dick around and like, I'm a riff slut. So I love to write riffs and just fuck around. And my brother's a drummer, and now that he lives in town, that like we just kind of dick around and I'll write stuff, but I don't really write any like for any reason other than to just kind of a little pressure release,
Yeah, no, true. But do you feel if you're, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big metal fan as much as I respect it. But it's for me. I know. You know what? Like, you can listen to Metallica and stuff, and I get the songs with the emotion. But for me, it's always different. I have to slow everything down, be piano, and then the boys have to speed it up. But I'm just curious to whether like certain situations you have. Okay, all right. I don't know if like you want me mentioning this actually. The situation you had with Lowell.
Sure.
Right. And I know that upset you.
Yeah.
Getting back into that friendship. To go on your own.
Yeah.
Or that next session you had.
Yeah.
After that situation, how did it really affect your? Were you like, I'm off, I can't even concentrate, or were you like, I've got this, and I'm sure you were pissed off at times with him and stuff where you're like,
no, for me that was going into the next sort of session, the stakes were so high for me personally, like sort of when that whole thing sort of fell apart, and that was in the middle of doing a record for Daughtry, and it sort of, I got passed the baton to be the first engineer or sort of co-engineer with Jacquire for the rest of that record. So I went from, not really being able to touch the computer or do much to help Lowell, to now all of a sudden, okay, hey, you're calling the shots on how we're going to record this, second half of the record. So for me, it was like, okay, fuck, I can't shit the bed here. So I really got to focus. And I also wanted to.
You were working with him on that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
So the three of us were working on that record. And then, that sort of, it transpired how it transpired. However, things go down, shit happens. But I going into like me sort of taking over the recording part, it was at Blackbird for 2 days. We had to get 2 tracks done that were going to be like sort of the single-y tracks. And I was just more focused on, I got to get in and I got to like do my very best and put all the rest of that shit out of my head. And also I didn't want to just take all of his stuff, like his settings and his mics and do the same thing, because that would have felt, it just would have felt cheap, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally.
And I wanted to, if I was going to fail and completely fall on my face, I wanted to do it doing me instead of doing somebody else's stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a great mentality to have. So
going into that, like, I think, like, yeah, while it was tough, sort of personally, and it made things weird, I've gotten pretty good at compartmentalizing, for better or worse, at least going into work. I like to think I'm pretty good at being professional and sort of hiding whatever I'm going through personally from the band or the producer or engineer, because there's so much other shit going on that you don't need to know whether or not your assistant's having a panic attack in the back of the room, like that's just part of the gig. So no, I think
give them a bag and a glass of water. I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of weird, hard times, but yeah, I don't know. Did I even answer the question?
No, not at all. No, okay. I'm joking. Yeah, you did. No, it's interesting on a mindset, I suppose. Like with what you do and what I do, it's in the same industry. But if I can be, the thing is, man, I can bring my ego to work and be a princess, and like write all my emotions down, and sometimes it'll be good, sometimes it'll be bad. When it comes to the I guess the technical side and what you're doing, obviously there's the feeling to it, but you have to you have to kind of put that shit aside to really
we have to execute, because if we don't, then you suffer. Like the artist suffers if we don't execute. So you get to, like, the harder you work in this industry, on my side of things, the more you can bring your ego into what you do, like in a good way. Like if you get to Jacquire's level, you can put your foot down and sort of ride your emotions a little bit more. But as and especially an assistant engineer, I mean, you just have to just shut the fuck up and do your job. As an engineer, you can kind of, the bigger engineers kind of get to swing their dick around a little bit more, but the higher up you get, the more you can sort of be a little more creative and emotional in an emotional way, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, but you can swing your dick around in your studio now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all the time. Don't touch like anything back there. Just...
Yeah. Wash your hands when you leave the studio,
because you're gonna itch. Look, man, I'm so glad you did this. I really appreciate you taking the time. I had a fucking blast doing this.
Yeah, man, this is sick. You should keep doing this. Don't stop. Honestly, like this is rad.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I'm gonna just keep doing it till people shout me down and tell me to stop. So
no, they will. They'll probably do that anyway, because they're just dickheads. But
yeah,
this is all right. It's interesting because you're my mate and I love talking to you. But I look forward to like watching the others. Like this is cool.
Oh, keep doing it. I'm glad, man. Thank you. Instagram handle, whatever you want to plug that you got coming up. Cool. If you got new shit coming out or whatever, hit me with it. Really not a good plugger, but new music. If you want to check out my shit and the band shit I'm in as well,
We've got lots of new music coming in 2021. So, and just survive.
Survive.
Everyone survive and be happy.
All right. Well, thanks
But
so much,
mate,
man.
thank you for having me. That's fucking cool.
This was great. Love you, man. Thanks so much.
You had you me at 6,
Yeah.
and then you've had me. I mean, I'm honored. Thank you, bruv.
Dude. Nah. Everyone's up here.
Oh, yeah, we are exactly.
Yeah.